Ray Ba'or Yakar, that's where we're supposed to be. Let me see if I can pull this down a little bit. Get this going. Okay, here we go. So he says, Ray Ba'or Yakar. Ba'or Yakar, let's see what he says. Shvir kam de oz he ha-elyon hi bina ha-elyona. Okay, so the use of the word that he's calling Elyona implies that it's very panimistic, and it would be maybe the first appearance of this concept in the Keter of Erich Anpin. It's the Bina of Erich Anpin. Let's see what he means. Those he elyon hi bina ha-elyona. The Heinder of a Metzach de Erich Anpin. What is the Bina Elyona? He says that's the Metzach of Erich Anpin. So I think I mentioned this the last time, that, normally when we think of Bina, we're thinking of the throat of Erich Anpin. Here he says that he's really talking about the Keter of Erich Anpin. Behemis ateres, and it crowns, or it surrounds, berucha hayotzim b'mochos limor. Misateres, it is surrounded by this rucha hayotzim b'mochos limor. There's some kind of a ruach that comes out of the mochos limor. And through the agency of the metzach, the forehead, then that ruach coming from the metzach, it brings this ruach into the openings of the nose, in order to bring life force to the zohar v'nor. Rei b'ha'aras kan ba'orech number lamatas, and that's where we're at now. We're going down to number lamatas. Let me see what I can do to make this work out a little bit better. So he says, so we'll go little by little and see what we do. Some arichas here. So he says, Rei ba'or yakar sham v'zel dasham. This is what the Ba'or Yakar says. Hey Lord is ante barucha. So this hey Lord is surrounded, he says, by a ruach. That's what I think the word isater means at the moment. We already talked about the nostrils, the nose of Erich Anpin, so to speak. And where is their origin? Their origin is in the Mitzi, in the Chochma Shebekaser. He says the Chochma Shebekaser is the Ruach Stimor. Now he says what? He says that the Kavor Parasha, the El Inyan Nukva, the Bardashka, the Hem the Shrashim, the Nukva is rooted in the Chochma, which is the Mochos Timor. So the Mochos Timor is supposed to be closed up. So there's something comes out of it, though, some kind of a Ruach. So he said, behind the Rabbis Pashas Tekunim HaChochma, that is the spread of the Tekunim of Chochma, and now Lamas Sham Ad Dikna, which is hidden there until it reaches the beard. Now, okay. Shehem Tikuni HaBebina Shehi Sham Bedikna, because this is the Tikun of Bina, which is there in the beard. Now, okay, let's see what else. Didn't make a lot of sense so far. The Chochma, he says, now Lamos Sham Ad Dikna. At the Dikna there, apparently he wants to say that he becomes more revealed. Shehem Tikuni Rababina Shehem Shem Sham Bedikna. Ruach do Nafik B'mocha. So this Ruach we're talking about is coming from the Mocha, means the Mochos Timor. Behind the Ruach Chochma Mamish, that's the Ruach of Chochma itself, comes out of this Mocha. The Yotzach B'derek of Bina Kedifrishna Na'el, and it goes out through Bina, as we explained up above. Now again, so he has Bina here at the forehead, and we still have to see what, and then he says that it's hidden, and it's an aspect of the Chochmas Limor. He says, but the Mochos Timor, but it's a reach that comes out of it. The Nafik Rucha Memucha Derek Chut La'achaya. So he learned the la'achia, the alachaya, to bring life force. So he says, v'nafik rucho memucha derek chutma la'achia. So what's the purpose of that? To bring hues to zud. If it doesn't ever come out, if there's nothing that comes out of the mochas dimor, ein kiyum l'tachtonim, it's not going to be possible. For this is what causes us to breathe, what causes everything to exist and to appear, and for us to be able to see it. All of that comes from this life force, which is coming from this ruach. So he said that the hind is there, v'nuk kedefrishna le'el. There would be no chiyus for zohar v'nuk. So he says, I think it's the hay. The hay hindach bina ba'atzman. The hay refers to Bina itself. But the chain amr the isata berucha. This is where it says that it's surrounded by this ruach, or it's crowned by this ruach, or maybe the ruach surrounds it. I'm sorry to say, ki mitzias habina misateres ba'osach ruach. So it surrounds. He says the Bina surrounds this ruach. The ruach hachiyuni, which brings the life force, so yotze maramoach kedefrishna, that comes out of the moach, as we have explained it. So he said, bis'atach ba'osa haruach, va'inin ki hametzach hi habina, v'hi misateres al einin v'chut macha shehem shlosha avos. Now all of this is, I don't have a background for this, so this is the background. But the Indian is like this, that the forehead is Bina itself. So Bina of what? What Bina? The Bina of Keter. V'hi misateres al einin, and it crowns over, or in other words, surrounds the eyes, v'chutma, and the nose, shehem shlosha avos. And he says that fact, chesed gevurah teferes. So I guess he means of what chesed gevurah teferes? The Frishna, the El, he says that we already learned this idea. Revia revuta al gabehem, and sort of like hands, it hangs over them, hovers over them. Behi misateres bechius hayotze mechachochma derek bosh losha ELUL. So he, that is, it is misateres, are surrounded. Bechius hayotze mechachochma, for this life force that comes out of this mochos dimor, derek ba l'shlosha ELUL, to these three. What's the three? Chesed gevurah teferes, which is a concept like right, left, middle, something happening up here in the Keter of Erich Anpin. L'hotzia osa machutza benukvin of the bardashka, in other words, to bring them out through the nukvin, the bardashka, l'tzor hanhagos atachtoina ad kan. Now the fact that he put in the concept of the avos here, and you're dealing with, I think you're dealing with the Bina of Keter, very, very high place. Let's see if there's any more specificity that we can see going on over here. So Rei Gamba Or Yakar Le'el, so the Or Yakar in a different place up above, he said, Bezel the Shona Nishba the Bardashka, the blowing of, I guess, the breath that comes out of the nose. Pirish Haidach Benok Ve'achoitin, we're talking about the nostrils of the nose of Erich Anpin. Behind what are the nostrils and the hod of Erich Anpin? We have Netzach and Hod. The one is of Netzach, the other one is Hod. Now previously he said that you had Chagat. So exactly, we're in a very beginning type of place, I guess. So the nostrils themselves of the Hainu are Netzach and Hod. The Chasam is Pashtusa, the Ima Ilor Besod Hey, because from there is where the spread comes out from Ima Ilor Besod Hey. The Frishnu, as we explain like this, Ima Ilor ad Hod is Pashetis. So we understand that the Ima Ilor, which is Bina, is going to spread out through the nose. But the kach lohora sheyichud Erich Anpin elu ela al pas al yedei. He says al pas means al yedei osach haruach hamis nashev sham, which blows through there. Now he said this idea that the yichud of Erich Anpin, what yichud is he talking about of Erich Anpin? Is he talking about the yichud between the chokhmah and the bina of Erich Anpin? Could be. So he says, "V'lekach loharos sheyichud Erich Anpin enu ela al pas al yudei osach haruach hamenashev sham." That's blowing there. V'nishpoyim hachayim derek osam anekavim. So that the life force itself is coming through this nose. Is it, so he says, let me see that. Lose the place. Okay, I lost the place. Let's go back a little bit. So he pass Yidecha be'osach haruach haminas nashev sham v'nishpoyim hachayim derek osam anekavim v'hamshachas hashefa dezer, and also the hamshacha that winds up going into zer anpin. L'kach bo hey ben yud l'yud. So therefore, you have a hey in between two yudin. What would be the two yudin, which makes the word like yehi, but which means come into being. So he says, what's the two yuds? The two yuds are Erich Anpin and Zer Anpin. And in between the two, you have to have this hey. The horish al yedech Bina ima ilah, that is comes through Bina. In other words, the shefa that's supposed to come to Erich Anpin, Zer Anpin, from Erich Anpin, has to go through this passageway, which is somehow, this is the Bina of Ima Ilah. So the chutma hamenasheves derek vov mahametzach. So he says again that the nose, what's the word? Chutma hamenasheves nimshachas derek vov mahametzach. It comes through the path of the letter vov from the forehead. Netzach and Hod, which we say are the nostrils, hein nisyachanim, that's where it joins together. Now, what joined together? So first he said that the yuds are Erich and Zer. So then he said the horosh al yidecha bebina, which is the nose, or which is, well, it's going to come through the nose, the Bina of Ima Ilah, which he said previously refers to the Metzach. Chutma hanemsheches derek vov metzach. So there's a vov. I don't know where this vov came from, but he says it flows through that vov. Ayedecha ben netzach and hod, by way of netzach and hod. Hey misyachadim, and that causes them to go together. What goes together? Anyway, let's keep reading on. That is the two. That's it. The two yuds coming together to be able to mashpia, but it has to go through this hay, and it's the vav that actually brings it together. No, so just introduce the vav here. Through the nostrils, and that actually joins them together. But it's not the main yichud. Because what's coming through this, so since it says the metzach, which is the hay, which is the source of Bina, coming down through the nose. I mean, the bridge of the nose is a vav. Not sure, that's miyached, what's coming through the two nostrils. So going on a little bit more. So he says, Tachtoina, Sharuach Chaim Elyona Yeredes or Yordim, a mislavshem, so nishmas ha'af. Let's get the words again. He says that the sharuach chaim elyonim. So this ruach, which we're saying came out of the mochas dimor, it's some way. Yordan and mislavshem, they go down, and mislavshem so nishmas ha'af, which is actually the breath that's in the panemius of the nose, ha'elyon la'adam atachton, and it winds up coming down to us. Keter v'yipach ba'apav nishmas chaim. This is the nishmas chaim he's talking about. Behind the neshama vadai. So he means the neshama, because the neshama comes from Bina. This is the concept of Bina. So it's neshama also means panemius, but I'm not sure how this goes. Lots of new ideas here. From that upper Bina, again, this is the Bina of Keter. Kedechsev, Benishmas Shakai Tavinum. So the Nishmas, maybe it doesn't mean that. I said I was supposed to look it up, but I didn't get a chance. Nishmas Shaddai, it could be Shaddai, and its provision, Tavinum. So let's see. Alt Ela Tachtonen, Nishmas Shakai. Shakai usually refers to Yesod, so I'm not sure exactly what we're saying here, which is the Vav. So, or it could be Das, like that. But Nishmas Shakai, to Bina, that will be understood or be able to preach this Lashon Bina. Ela Tachtonim. Nishmas Shakai Sha'amach La'olam Dai. That's what he wants to say. It's always sufficient for Yesh B'cha Guvul, but it does have sufficient, reminds that, or gives the idea that it has a boundary, or it's sufficient, means just enough. El ha'adam ha'elyon neshama she'ein ba dai bilti bal tachlis. Let me just read it again. From the word in Iyuv, where it says v'nishma shakai tavinum el tachtonim. So tavinum, let's say it's lashon bina el tachtonim. Through that nishmas shakai, that this neshama. Sha'amar la'olam dai, which it says is sufficient, v'yesh b'cha gavul, and it has a boundary. That's not so easy. Ela adam ha'elyon neshama she'ein ba dai. So inside of the adam ha'elyon, I'm not sure who this adam ha'elyon means, what he means there. Maybe he means Ak. He said neshama she'ein ba dai bilti bal tachlis, that it was out any purpose at all. The Hainu, what does that mean? In other words, it's not directed. V'hainu so the atzmos hamispashet misham. This is, we're talking about the essence of the light that spreads into this area. Misnashem, he made the misnashem blows, or the breath comes through it. The chayim hakius, the chayim chachavayos, the hanhagas and metzios, and this. Well, a lot of stuff here. What havayos? The havayos that we've talked about, like there's three sets of making 12. The number 12, which is flowing down, ultimately going into the beard and spreading out from there. The havayos, the hagas and metzias, shazulas haneshima hazaz, because if there was not breath coming through this, chas v'shalom, ein metzius, there would be no physicality. That without this ruach, which is coming again from the mochas limah through Bina, in the Rosh of Erich Anpin, there would be no chiyas down below. Now, there's some different little parts and pieces here that he always has parts and pieces and ideas, and so let's see if we can get any idea how they touch together from here. Rei od b'or yakar lohalon. So if you look at the or yakar later on, and I'll make openings in the two, I guess, I will make openings. 2 openings. V'yesh l'daski inyan ankiv. What is ankiv? It's lashon making. It's like a verbal kind of way of making a hole. That word ankiv, I will make a hole. Mora she'ein dekaven hanokvin mo'ilin. What does that mean? She'ein nikveha, or nikve, the openings. She'ein nikve hanekuvin, that are opened up, mo'ilin. Ela shehi nokeves od nekavim. I think it means it's not sufficient. That's where he used the word up above, but it's necessary, and it makes more openings. But the Indian is like this. It's still difficult to hear. But what blows through the nostrils? Whoso ruchod kedefrishna the ale, it's a concept of breath itself, or breath. I'll just use the word breath. Anam is atara berucha, so this phrase, that it's surrounded by this rucha. I think that's what Yisatra means here. K'da amar le'el, So he says that it's surrounded by this ruach, or in some way the ruach is channeled through this. V'agav ma'aver the ruach hachayim, and through a bridge, which I'm possibly the nose. Hamakayim ametzios, which actually sustains physical reality or reality. Mispashid bo sod ha'aras bina elyona, through this place, this bina elyona, which he says is in the Metzach, which is related to the Bina of the Keter of Erich Anpin. Shuham Metzach, now that's that same place that you said before. So he wants to say, I think I saw this here, Be'inyan Shechabibina he nokeves v'yoredes derek nishivo the rucha. Again, the translated is the Bina he nokeves, it makes an opening. The Yored is derek neshiva, and it goes through the path of the way that the breath comes out of the nose, Kedifrishno, as apparently we've explained this before. It doesn't say that it made two openings. Ella betrin nukvin, but in the true nukvin, which means what? Shehein nukvin besod achotim she'ena habibina. Let's read this again. Shehem nukuvim, I read it wrong, the nukuvim, opening up openings, besod hachotim, which is the secret of the nose, she'ena habina, the nose is not the bina. Ela habibina he no kevis, but what bina does, it makes this opening, umispashetes agav ruach tenashiv, and it spreads through this ruach that is now breathing. So I'm not sure exactly what that was all about. New ideas, new thoughts. Okay, we're just a couple of